So today is October 15, 2025, and this is today's trade breakdown. I actually did a live recording video where I recorded the whole trade when it happened, but I wasn't able to be on the camera when it was taking place. And I'll be showing that video after I break down what exactly happened, and then I'll show you the video so I can show you exactly what I did once I was in the trade. So here we can clearly see price pushing up, creating a demand zone. Right here, boom, right? And then the next thing, we just waited for price to either hit our demand zone, boom, and price broke through it, right? Broke through our demand zone right here. We clearly see we're on an uptrend. This is NASDAQ, by the way, on the 5-minute. And then right here we have another demand zone on this 5-minute structure. Then we also see that price came and bam, and broke it with this candle right here at 9:45. Well, they lit, right? Then I noticed there was another gap right here, this initial gap that started the push towards the first demand zone, right? And if we go to the 15-minute, right, we go to the 15-minute, you can see there's the initial gap. There's a little gap right here, and there's another demand zone on the 15-minute. And also we have the 3 MAs lined up accordingly, lined up in order for price, and price ended up coming down, touching that 15-minute demand zone, breaking the first demand zone that we saw on the 5-minute, breaking the second demand zone on the 5-minute, and this is also a demand zone 2 on the 15-minute. So those were valid demand zones, and price ended up coming back down all the way up to here to the third demand zone, rejecting off of it, rejecting off the 50 MA. And we also see price that had came up over here, so there's also a resistance right here, and price seems like that broke structure, came back, broke that resistance structure and came back to retest it as support, and that was a demand zone right there, so it just made sense, right? So once I seen this candle happen and price came to this demand zone, the 15-minute, that's also shown on the 5-minute, right? I seen this candle right here. So this candle, right, it went above this previous candle, and it went below this previous candle with a lot of momentum. When it was happening, there was a lot of momentum going up and down. So I figured, okay, this has got to be a liquidity grab. There's a liquidity grab candle, right? Because it also broke this low right here. It broke the support. So it grabbed liquidity of whoever was buying price right here. It stopped them out. Whoever was buying price right here, when price started pushing, it stopped them out. And price began to reject off this zone, right? Which is also the 200 MA right here. Price touched it, literally wicked it, and began bouncing right off of it. So the next candle, I was like, okay, if I see the next candle coming in with momentum and power to the upside, then I'm gonna get in for buys. I'm gonna get in for buys. If price breaks this candle high, I'll be getting in for buys. Boom. And that's exactly what happened. The next candle opened and price began pushing aggressively to the upside. So that was telling me, okay, this must have been definitely a liquidity grab candle, and price must have grabbed liquidity, stopped everybody out underneath here that had the stop loss underneath here and under here, right? Touched that 15-minute demand zone and began pushing back up to new highs. Also on the 1 hour, we could see that clearly there's another, the price right here pushed down. This was a couple days priorly. Price had pushed down aggressively, and now price is slowly correcting itself, slowly filling in all these gaps that didn't get filled in. And then there's a gap right here on top of here that still got to get filled in. So price eventually will come back up to this point, which this is another supply setup on the hour time frame, and price will eventually come back up to this point, either break that resistance or that supply zone, or reject off of it and then push down and continue downtrending. Right, so this gap has to get filled in. Right, you see price came pushed down crazy, and now it's slowly correcting itself, filling in those gaps. So eventually, okay, I was like, we're bullish for the day, so price will eventually have to go up, right? And I ended up taking the risk. I was like, you know what, these confirmations are telling me that price grabbed liquidity. Price didn't want to close in the zone. It came all the way down here, broke these zones, rejected off of it, the whole nine, and then the next candle just pushed up aggressively. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get in the trade. Boom, got in the trade. The next candle pushed up aggressively. So right now we're already in profit. I got in like around here. My stop loss was at the end of the wick. Right, they're right here. Boom. And then price just kept pushing up aggressively. Boom, boom. And eventually hit take profit 1. Right. Once I hit take profit 1, obviously I closed out partials. I closed out half the trade, broke even, and just let the rest run in to take profit 2, or 2 to 1, or 1 and 2, basically. So now I'm just gonna show you the video of it happening live, and I'll just explain through it as the video goes by exactly what I did and when I did it, so you can just get an idea of what was going on when this was happening live and how I was managing my trade position. Right, so this is the video right here. I have half of the screen with my trading view on. This is like what this is live when it was happening, and then I have the other half of my MetaTrader 4. So right here you can see the lot size I have. You see this is the liquidity grab candle right here. This on the Nasdaq. This is the liquidity grab candle that came above this candle and came below this candle. Right, so I was thinking, okay, the next candle that breaks this liquidity grab candle high, breaks the high of that candle, pushing the momentum, I'm gonna get in for buys. Because as you can see, as I broke down on the trading view, I had all those confirmations. I had the 15-minute demand zone that got tapped into. Price was rejecting of the 3 MAs. We're in an uptrend, and we got this big push to the downside, and price rejected with this big candle, and now the next candle that opened up, price is pushing up. So now I'm like, okay, I'm about to get in this trade, and I'm about to actually risk less. So this one I risk probably like 1.5%, 1.7%. I usually risk 2% of my trades, but on this one I risk a little bit less, just because it's not my normal strategy that I use. Right, and let's see what happened. So right here, as soon as we see this candle breaking up here, I got in. I was like, you know what, I'm in the trade. Right here I set my stop loss. As you can see the mouse cursor, I set my stop loss right here underneath the wick of the big candle that pushed up and down, grabbing liquidity. And I set my stop loss there, and then I'm just gonna be setting up my take profits. So right here is my take profit 1, and take profit 2 is the second red line. Right, so right here, the first red line is take profit 1, the second red line is take profit 2, and then you can see me over here setting it up on my trading view just so I can have a more clear view of where price is at and where my take profits are. Right here you see as well on the price pips, how many pips were up and how much money were up. Right here we're up $57. Then right here price started pushing. This is like a couple minutes before 10 a.m. As soon as price kept pushing up and get closer to my 1-to-1 take profit, I began shortening my stop loss. So now I'm risking less than I would normally risking. Right, eventually 10 o'clock hit and price began pushing. This 10 a.m. Price push crazy. Right here we're just holding, being patient. I move my stop loss a little bit more higher to my break even, so now I'm risking less because price is a little bit higher, more closer to my 1-to-1. Right here I was like, you know what, price is already super near my 1-to-1, so I'm about to move my stop loss super close to break even, because just in case price comes back down and doesn't hit my 1-to-1 and I don't make no money, at least if price hits my stop loss, I only lose like $50. So, and I'm already up like $200 on this trade, right? So right here, boom, price hit my 1-to-1. As soon as price hit my 1-to-1, I move my stop loss to break even, and I closed out half the trade. You're gonna see right here the numbers go from like 300 or so back down. That's because I closed out half the trade. See, price kept pushing up, boom, boom, boom. We're up 300, and then bam, down to 100. Because I closed out half the trade to secure profits. Because now if price decides to go from my 1-to-1 all the way back down to break even and hit my stop loss at break even, at least I left with some profits for the day, right? Making it a winning day, right? And right here, since I was content and I seen that this candle was pushing crazy, right? This candle was pushing in a lot of momentum to the upside, surpassing my 1-to-1. I ended up moving my stop loss from break even all the way up here just to secure more profits, just in case the price does decide to come back down, because it was pushing with a lot of volume, right? It was zoom, 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 zoom. It seems like it wasn't, but live it was pushing with a lot of momentum and volume. So I was like, yo, let me secure some profits just in case price does decide to come back down. I secure some profits, and not just profits at break even like $2, but at least secure like $50 extra just in case price does decide to come back down from where it's at. And then from there, price kept pushing, boom. Right here, I moved my stop loss near 1-to-1. So just in case price decides to come back down, I at least close out with most of the amount that I had at 1-to-1 at the start. So if price comes back down to my 1-to-1 and hits my stop loss at 1-to-1, I leave with the same amount of money as if I were to close out the full trade at 1-to-1, R to R, right? So I will leave the amount with the same amount of money, right? Right now we're up $140, and I'm waiting to see if price gonna hit my second red line, which is take profit 2, and that's the initial goal. But right now it's already a risk-free trade. We already closed our partials. We already closed out half the trade in profit. We move our stop loss into profit, and right now it's a risk-free trade. Right here, I move my stop loss above 1-to-1. Right, I move my stop loss way above 1-to-1 because I was like, yo, let me just secure profits for real. Because if price decides to just give me a big ass candle coming down, I'm gonna make sure that I take some money from that from that big move, and who knows, because like price right here could literally begin to reject and just push down heavily all the way back down and fill in all these gaps that it just created. And this is another demand zone right here too that it just created. So because it broke this high with a lot of momentum, and it has gaps, so this is another demand zone. So price can easily just come back down to break even, hit the demand zone, and then continue. So I was like, you know what, let me move my stop loss way into profit, a little bit more above from 1-to-1, just because I want to close out with more money, in case price doesn't freaking hit my 2-to-1 and comes back down, or my 1-to-2, better said. So right here we're up $130, and this next candle open, I started to see price rejecting a little bit, and as soon as price began rejecting a little bit more and coming back down, I was like, you know what, I closed out. So as soon as I saw that candle that didn't want to keep pushing and price began pushing back down, I was like, you know what, I'm out. I'm not even gonna let it hit my stop loss. I'm not even gonna let it hit my stop loss. I'm just gonna close out the trade, call it a day, and just take what the market gives me. Take what the market gives me. And basically, yeah, that was it. That was the whole setup. That was today's trade. I normally don't trade liquidity grabs, but everything made sense. You know, there was a liquidity grab. We got candles pushing the momentum to the upside. We got price hitting our 15-minute demand zone. 3 MAs are lined up. We're in an uptrend. There was just confirmations everywhere. You know, so that just made the most sense. Over here, I'll show you how much we made for the day, which was 338 bucks. Not bad. This one was a NASDAQ today. I got in around 9:50 on the trade. I don't think it tells you what time I got out. I mean, but we got out the trade like around like 10:11 or 10:10. It was really like only like a 20-minute trade. And then we was up 300 bucks. Made some money, call it a day. And yeah, that was today's trade breakdown. If you like it, comment, let me know if you like these videos, like, show some love. I'll keep making some more. At the end of the day, I'm just documenting my journey and just showing you what I'm doing that has brought me results. If you want to learn more, learn how I trade, check out the link in bio where I have my system. I have a book program and also have a video program explaining and breaking down exactly from A to Z how I trade and the system I use. And yeah, till next time, guys. See ya.